Let's get into it. Sold Not For Sale podcast. Coach Colin here. We got Joe Rogan talking about something called dead internet theory. Now, Joe Rogan actually doesn't say this, but what he's talking about is dead internet theory. If you don't know what that is, it's an assumption, or not an assumption. It's a theory that everything that you're seeing on the internet is fake, and it's actually dead because there's not many humans out there. But Meta actually has taken the time to make this theory that Joe's going to be touching on a reality. And I'm going to show you that after I show you the Joe Rogan clip. And then I'm going to show you the theory. I'm going to show you some more clips of Joe Rogan talking about things like this, bots and whatnot. And yeah, maybe this will get you to start not engaging with people in the comments. I don't know what it's going to do to me. I love talking to you guys in the comments, but let's put this first clip up. And let's get to the rest after.
Are you aware of the Elon Musk, Adrian Dittman controversy?
That he, I saw something. They said he was a fake person. He made a fake.
I think they call them sock puppet accounts.
Okay,
and it's generally frowned upon to have a fake account. Like, it seems like it would be a fun way to fuck around online. I don't have one, but it seems like it would be a fun way to fuck around online.
It takes a lot of time, it seems like.
Yeah, but you could have like a fake account where if you're a public person, you know, like Elon Musk, and you want to say it's wild, but you don't want to take responsibility for it. You just want to post like everybody else, like an anonymous person.
Oh, that's true. He can't do that, really.
Yeah, I would say that would be a smart thing to do.
Was it really him? Did they find out?
But is that unethical? That when one person can call themselves, you know, cat turd, you know, that's a legit name for a dude. I don't know anything about that cat, but that guy can just talk about anything he wants to talk about. But if Elon Musk does it, well, he has the responsibility of his public image. But maybe he doesn't want that.
Right.
Like I don't have a problem with either one of them.
Yeah, sometimes you just want to shed your skin. You just want to take a layer off. You want to relax at the house. You want to kick your feet up and yell something down the hallway you shouldn't yell.
Right.
And that's what he wants to do.
I think you should be allowed to do that.
Yes, I think you should.
This is one of the problems with making the internet, you know, like taking away the anonymity. But here's my question. Because of that, right? So if people can just have fake accounts and people should be able to, which I think they definitely should be able to do. Because of that, though, then you have to wonder, when you see arguments, how many of these arguments are real people and their real opinions, and how many of these arguments are this giant block of accounts that's been purchased by a large organization that is hiring people or using AI to have arguments with people and incite things online.
Wow.
It's not 0% people. Now,
no.
I'm saying, like, if you have a personal belief in something, like, no, they're not bots because I think that way. I'm not saying that you don't believe what you believe, and I'm not even saying that you're wrong. I'm saying that if there's any hot button cultural topic, you can guarantee that some of the people talking about it aren't real. Either they're not real in that these are not their real opinions, they're being told to say these things, or they might not even be a real human. They might be an algorithm, or they're a bunch of people that have been hired whenever there's hot button cultural issues or voting issues or political issues. A lot of those people arguing are not real.
Yeah.
And there's a real question as to what the number are. Like, how much of this is like real interaction between people, and how much of this is all of this meddling that's being done. Like, they're changing the way people think about things and forcing and arguing with these things all day very persuasively on behalf of some sort of special interest group.
Yeah, I think that sounds very plausible, especially these days. There's not as much, you know, it used to be that a lot of media was controlled by a few channels and networks, right? I mean, that's safe to say. Would you agree with that?
It was all controlled by a few channels.
Right.
It was all, I mean, all you had when we were kids, I remember when cable came out. It was crazy.
Really?
Yeah.
What was before that?
You had ABC, NBC, CBS. That's it.
No.
Yes, that's it. And then out
You
of
had
nowhere,
3 chances for
Fox. Fox was crazy. Married with Children. The Simpsons. Fox was nuts. Fox was this wild network. So that was the fourth network.
Married with Children was so good, dude.
So good. So you have this fourth network. And then cable comes along, and then satellite, and now streaming and the internet. It's like, what? I don't even think we're aware of how much more content we absorb than people that were, that lived like when I was 21.
Oh, yeah. Well, even if you're just by the airport or whatever, sometimes I wish they'd be like, can someone turn all this shit off? It's like, you don't even know what's going on anymore. In the middle of the night, I'll have like songs playing in my head that I heard on like TikToks and shit. It's just bad. Like, it's gotten to be too much. But I think that what I'm saying is if somebody had all that control at one point, or if a few networks did, there's no way that now that they have less control, they're not still trying to find that control 100%. And that they're hiring different groups to be Twitter bots or Twitter personalities or whatever.
Make TikTok accounts,
100%.
do TikToks about issues. People have said flat out that they were offered money and then they got paid money to make things for political people. Like make people think that they were really excited about voting for someone. They would pay them for pro content.
Right.
So pro whatever that person is. So there's a whole business in this.
Man, where is my check? Why haven't I gotten this type of pay? Who do they approach? What's going on? I don't get it. You know? Trump. I did a lot. I made sure to post a lot of Trump video. Can I get a check, Trump campaign? You guys send me anything? It's very interesting. I wonder who those people are who are getting paid to do that. I can think of a few names, but I wouldn't say them out loud because I don't want to disparage those people. But yeah, definitely people are getting paid to do that kind of thing. I wish I was one of them. I'll be honest, because I would have done that for free. I did it for free. I was like, Trump's the one. Let's go. If they were like, here's $250,000, I was like, oh my God, what? I'd be like, we're doing a giveaway, guys. We're doing a giveaway. Free comedy shows. Come on down. Everybody gets $20. I guess that's why they don't do it for me, because I would have let the cat out of the bag. Anyway, guys, dead internet theory. That's exactly what Joe Rogan was just touching on. He didn't even realize it. It's been a theory for a long time, and oddly enough, I've never heard this discussed on JRE, like actually like somebody bringing up that internet theory. Now, here's a little breakdown of what it is, and then I'm going to show you some more Joe Rogan, and then I'm going to show you what Meta's doing to make it a reality.
I think it's a great time for us to take another look at the dead internet theory, which we might need to start calling the dying internet theory. The original dead internet theory was basically the idea that the entire internet died in 2016, and everything posted on it since has been artificially generated content created to gaslight the entire world. That was a bit of a reach at the time, but it sort of looks like that's the future that we're headed to. 100 million people use ChatGPT every single week, and 70% of Gen Z has used generative AI to create something. Video scripts, thumbnails, filters, blog posts, captions, tweets, the list goes on. More and more content that we see online has been generated or altered by artificial intelligence. Experts say that in only 2 years from now, 90% of the content posted on the internet will be AI generated, which is only part one of this because, like I mentioned at the start of this video, your face and your voice can now be stolen and replicated to create the illusion of you doing something that you never actually did. Right now, the rule of thumb should be don't believe everything that you see on the internet, but soon enough, it might be don't believe anything you see on the internet.
So that is, a very condensed version of what dead internet theory is. So it's like when you're having these arguments on Instagram or Twitter, if you're like me, because I go in, you can catch you. Sometimes people who watch the show, they catch me. They're like, Coach Colin's here. And I'm like, all right, you got me. Now move aside. I got to swear at this guy right now. This isn't YouTube. No bleeps here. It's true. I'm not perfect, but it's a real thing. I think I've had so many interactions where I'll be saying something to somebody and they'll say something else. And I'm like, well, you didn't just address what I said. Like if you're talking to me, and then they'll just say something else. And I'll be like, oh, this is a crazy person, but maybe not. Maybe it's not a real person at all. We used to think they're just trolls. It's some guy who's just getting a kick out of doing this, out of trolling, out of saying the thing that's very contrarian. But then all of a sudden, you start to realize maybe it's not a real person at all. Now, there's troll farms, there's cyber attacks. I think a lot of what you saw in terms of Kamala Harris support was actually fake. I do think that. Online, the support that you would see, I remember joining a Facebook group. I should check if that group's still around. It was called Cat Ladies for Kamala. And it was just people who were like, oh man, it's so good. And every account I would check, they didn't have any friends. They were only posting to that group. I was like, oh, this has to be a fake person. Nope, but nobody was doing videos. Nobody was showing any clips of anything they did down the street or went to a rally. None of that. You would think that group would be showing rally videos like crazy. None whatsoever. It made no sense. And apparently there was 50,000 people in the group. It made no sense. I think a lot of Trudeau's support that you see online is fake as well. Let's jump over to a Rogan clip real quick. I think I've seen clips of Trudeau getting booed, and then you go to the comment section and people are like, "Stop it! I love him. I love him. Love? I don't know, man." Anyway, let's get into this next clip. Push this back.
There was an FBI former analyst did some sort of a study on Twitter where he was estimating the amount of bots versus, this is like right around the time when Elon was saying that it's more than 5%. He said he thinks it's about 80%. He thinks 80% of the accounts, 80% of the accounts are fake accounts, which just stop and think about if you're in a country, okay? Let's imagine you want the politics of America to swing in a certain direction, because we most certainly do this in other countries. I mean, we don't have to educate people on the long history of interventionist foreign policy where we have gone in and installed new leaders of countries and organized all kinds of shit. So we do it. And we do it, and we know they do it. But isn't it like the cheapest way to do it? Wouldn't it be to do it on social media? Mm-hmm. And if you did it, why would you do it like one account? Why wouldn't you have a million? There was an FBI former analyst did.
So 80%, 80% potentially. You know, that was one of the things when Elon Musk was buying Twitter. He was like, "How many people are bots?" And they're like, "Oh, it's like 5% or something like that." And he's like, "I don't think so." He's like, "Can you show me the numbers?" They refused to show him the numbers. And then when he started looking into how many bots there were, that's when they started saying, "You have to buy it." After everything we've gone through, because he was exposing the number of bots, they started realizing if he doesn't buy it for this inflated price of, what was it, $44 billion, then people are going to realize, and the value is going to go down to what it's at now, which is about $22 billion. So that was a very interesting thing. Elon knew as he was buying it. I'm going to show you another Joe Rogan clip right now. He discusses this type of stuff a little bit more.
Amos.
We scrubbed it. Kamala scrubbed it.
Every time I type it in, it's just people complaining, like making videos complaining about it. I can't find it.
I guarantee you can find it.
You got to go on Reddit.
Remember the Trump Joe Rogan episode? And you searched Joe Rogan Donald Trump, and it was like a bunch of reaction videos came up first.
They made it impossible to find the video. And we had to complain, and they said it was an accident.
But like, how did this accident happen?
They wouldn't say. See, here's the thing. Like, maybe there's a way that you can. This is me completely speculating.
Okay.
But maybe there's a way. Like, I don't like Ari Shaffir, and I run some sort of a super
very well
PAC.
known. Yeah.
So I run sort of a super PAC, or I think Ari Shaffir has a podcast that's dangerous, and it might. I might be able to do something by mass complaining about your podcast. Like mass flagging it.
Right.
Okay.
Like if I have a bot system and I can get like 1 million people to mass flag your video, maybe it gets put into a category where it's more difficult to find.
They do that.
I'm just imagining if I ran a company and it was potentially like a beheading Taliban video and it got mass flagged, you'd want it really hard to find. So you would hide the actual title of it. You would make it so it's difficult to search.
Yeah.
I'm just being as charitable as possible.
Yeah, okay, right.
That's what I could imagine.
So
now,
a bunch
I
of people
don't
said
think they want people to know that that's possible. So when you ask them, how did it happen, they don't give you a straight explanation. Because if that's the case, and this is, again,
that's scary.
Completely me speculating. But if I'm speculating and that you find out that that's a thing, and I bet somebody does know it's a thing, if it is a thing, they definitely don't want it publicly known. Because then these other foreign countries, anybody who wants to stifle any kind of news story, anything, could just start using this process to hijack their
anytime
system.
I've come under public fire, it's like the videos that have nothing to do with it go low.
Amos.
Yeah, you know, I'm just gonna say I was on a platform, not this platform, because this platform's all loving and absolutely amazing. But I was on another platform, and I could always tell when something's about to happen to my videos for the month. Again, not this platform, some other platform. And it's because there is a bunch of comments. There'll be really weird comments, and I'm like, oh gosh, it's happening. I've seen this. I've made about 1,500 videos. I know when this is happening. I can pinpoint it. And I look at the numbers. I see everything in my analytics. Every single time these weird comments pop up. A lot of weird comments. Maybe they'll be all like negative. It is as if someone sent some kind of attack. Now, I'm not talking about a deep state thing. I think these social media companies have that as a tactic. That way they can back up their accusation of people not liking your video or your video being reported, or, you know, when they do something to you, they can say, well, we have it back. There's like so many people reported this. I think they have a bot system that actually helps them do that kind of thing. Again, never and this platform, because this platform is just so lovely. You know, you hear that, YouTube? I love you. Anyway, let's get into the next clip.
I saw that video showing the comments in TikTok are different.
Exactly. I think it's Instagram. Was doing it with her boyfriend, and they were both looking at the same thing, but they had different comments.
Yeah.
Comments were mocking the man, and the comments on his side was mocking the woman.
Yes. Whenever I'm looking at comments, I make the idiot mistake of thinking this represents some consensus that, you know, but actually, no, you're just looking at the algorithm serving the comments and the content. That is so up.
The comments are supposed to be a conversation about the thing. So if you're curating the conversation in an unnatural way, like that's very different than showing me what I want to see.
Yes.
Because now you're changing the dynamics of how things are discussed.
Yes, sir. That's the evil right there. That's the evil.
That's crazy.
The other assumption with the algorithm is that the algorithm is just like random, or it's using some set of variables and serving things up. But this is an idiot assumption. I mean, you could, if you are controlling comments, then that means like, all right, let's just like make people mad at each other. Let's make people completely pissed at each other as much as possible. Convey this idea that there's like these massive divides between us, and then they're gonna fight each other instead of recognizing they're pretty much the same.
Very, very true. Now let's get to what Meta's doing. Check this out. Meta is killing off its own. This is the thing. As of today, so I like that I brought this part up. As of today, Meta's saying that they got rid of all of these AI generated characters and profiles. Now, these are not just random bots. These are profiles that they generated. They decided that they were going to generate a bunch of AI generated profiles, people who can comment, people who have pictures, people who have a following, people who have bios. They decided they were going to generate thousands, hundreds of thousands, and put them in Instagram and Facebook for the reason of just driving up engagement, having people talk back and forth, getting you mad at a bot. But Meta actually made this whole dead internet thing a reality. And they actually put it out there as something that they were doing. And now, when they tell us that they've done away with this whole thing, as of today, how would anybody know? Facebook has what, 2-point-some odd billion users? How would you be able to tell? How could we ever really know that's what they did? You know, as much as Mark Zuckerberg has made these strides to be a more freedom of speech platform as of recently, getting rid of fact checkers and having community notes and whatnot, as much as he's done that, he also said he was about free speech years ago. And then all of a sudden, just recently, he's like, oh yeah, the Biden-Harris campaign, they pressured us to censor people. So it's like he said he was for free speech when he was really censoring people. He said he was just showing people what they wanted to see when really he was just trying to get people to fight each other. Because that was a known thing on Facebook, to get people angry, show people things that make them angry. So who's to say that when he says on January 10th, today, 11:11 a.m., that he actually got rid of them? I don't believe that for a second. And if he got rid of those generated ones, couldn't they also get rid of the ones that aren't them as well? Couldn't they just purge the whole thing? I don't think that there's a benefit in them doing that. I think that 2.2 billion users goes down to 1.1 billion users if Meta decided to purge Facebook of all their bots. I think Instagram's usership goes down dramatically if they get rid of all the bots. I don't think there's a benefit in them doing that. So why would I believe them at all? It's just a very interesting thing going on. And again, I think it's used by people in politics. And I will say, I do have a bias. You guys know I have a bias when it comes to Trump. Wanted to see Trump as president. Very happy that he's president. But it seems like he's the only one who doesn't need to do that kind of thing. He has some people who are very diehard for him, that are going to like, that are going to subscribe, that are going to follow, that are going to engage, that are going to comment, that are going to go after the wokies and the left. He seems like he has a solid following of people that are willing to do that, you know? And then when you go out into the world, you also see it. Whereas Kamala Harris was the reverse. You would see it in interviews and street interviews and stuff like that. You'd see it online, but then you're like, this isn't really panning out as much. You know, her rallies were very manufactured. It just didn't make any sense. Again, it goes back to the bot theory. It's just a very interesting thing to think about. You know, I found it here when I was researching that as of January 10th, 2025, Meta has removed the generated profiles, but users can still create their own AI chatbots using the company's AI character tool, which I didn't even know existed. But this is their statement of why they did it. Also, the company stated that the accounts were part of an early experiment with AI characters and were managed by humans, and that they were removing the accounts to fix the issue with blocking. It doesn't even make sense what they're doing. This is not something that they needed to do. Profiles created to exist on the platform in the same way human accounts, with bios, profile pictures, and the ability to generate and share content powered by AI. I'm just telling you guys, you know, it's an interesting theory, and Meta has made it more of a fact than anything. Again, you know, it just takes time for a conspiracy theory to just become fact. And this is one of those things. You got to be careful who you're arguing with. And I'm going to take this into mind as well, because I'll even get some people who comment on my videos, and I'm like, this is not a real, you can't be real. Just the thing, sometimes the things they say, it used to be an insult where you'd go, oh, this guy's a bot because someone says something dumb. You know, they say something that doesn't make sense. You're like, you're just a bot. But now that's a legitimate thing. You have to really watch and see, like, is this a bot? Because there have been chat bots that have been put into comment sections and they comment back and forth with each other. And it is very convincing. If you're blinded with anger because they're saying something you don't agree with, it's very easy for the emotion to just override you actually looking at them objectively and being like, is this a real person? Checking their account. You check their account. They have 0 followers. They're following 5 people. They have no profile picture. It's probably not a real person, but they're saying a whole lot of real stuff. It's interesting because even if you had a burner account, even if it was a fake person, a troll, they would at least as a human have the mind that I'm going to follow a bunch of people because we know how algorithms work. I want a bunch of stuff to pop up in my feed so I can get to trolling. But when you see no followers and you see no following, that says a little something. So you got to be careful. And, you know, I'll even say in regards to Twitter, you know how many people I want to interview on Twitter and they have these big followings? And I'm like, oh, they don't have a website. I'm like, do they have a YouTube channel? I'm like, no, they don't have a YouTube channel. I'm like, do they have a show anywhere? Like Rumble, something? Nothing. They're just on Twitter. I'm like, okay. And their profile picture is clearly fake or it's not even them. And they have these huge followings. And I'm starting to think a lot of these huge accounts on X are probably not even real people. It's very possible that they're not real people. And that's why when you look at their feeds and you go, wow, this person posts twice an hour every hour for the past 5 days. Maybe they have it scheduled. Maybe it's a real person. They have it scheduled because it's a business. Or maybe it's not a real person at all. Anyway, just wanted to leave you on that high note for the day. Take that and think about it a little bit. Are you interacting with bots? And then soon in a few years, you're going to have to look real close at Coach Colin. You're going to be like, is that Coach? Is his hat glitching at all? I don't know. It's going to get to the point where the creators are going to be in question. It has to get to that point. And that's when you'll have to do live shows. And that's what I'm working on next. Anyways, guys, like, subscribe, turn on the notifications. Helps the channel tremendously. And other than that, I'm out.